slightly odd question. Are these customs still in existence, or have they sort of changed over time? Is this kind of situation?
Jay. I'll answer your question, but before that, may I address the subject? Thank you all for staying back, and I stand here on behalf of my director, Mr. Min Bahadur Bham, who is the brains behind SHAMBHALA, the cinematographer Aziz, the beautiful ADT, my co-actors, and editor, sound design, sound recordist, the catering team, the production unit, everybody. We really did have a tough shoot for this one. And we shot this film between 4,200 meters and 5,500 meters. So doing the bare minimum was also a challenge. And like breathing was a challenge in itself. So, but yeah, so I stand here on behalf of every member who's worked on this film. And regarding the customs that you mentioned, so Jodhpur, where we shot this film, exists between the Nepal and Tibet border, and geopolitically they are Nepalese citizens, but culturally they are all Tibetans. They speak Tibetan language, so particularly if you talk about the custom of polyandry, it is a custom that happened in certain parts of Tibet way back, but now it's not so much into practice. And particularly about this location, there's only one family. Let's say in a household of about 100 households, there's only one family that's practicing it now. So you can say that it is present time. You can also say that yes, it was in past. But anything else that would tell us, so the Lhasa trade was just stopped before COVID, during the COVID time, and now it has resumed again. So they meet at the border. So people from Lhasa come meet at the border, and people from Jodhpur go there, meet at the border, and the border is about 1.5 days of walk. And they measure everything, they measure the distances as per how many days it takes for you to walk there. So yeah, so from the last motorable road until this village, it's like 3 days of walking. So the cast and crew walked for 3 days to reach the shooting location, our base, and then further on more. So yeah.
Thank you. It was a lovely movie. I have 2 questions. Were you allowed to film in Tibet? And also, I'd like some understanding of the ending.
So this land is falls under the Nepal sovereignty. So it's a Nepalese land geopolitically. So that means we do not film inside Tibet. Tibet is 1 day walk away from Jodhpur, where we shot this film. And the second part of the question is the end. So when we screened this at Berlin, a lot of people thought that it's actually the monk taking care of the kid. Is that so? It's actually not the monk. It was actually the actress who shaved her head for this film. And now, metaphorically, what this is like now, she has found Shambhala within herself, a mystical kingdom within herself. And the first, let's say, now this is my interpretation. I don't know how much of the maker feels the same about it. So now the enlightened society, the enlightened community. So now there are 2 people. One is the reincarnated Rinpoche. The monk Rinpoche, and the other is Pema herself, who found Shambhala within herself and within. So the reference of that bow and arrow significance, there's a Ramayana reference there of Sita going through Agni Pariksha. So that is the reference there, and she passes the Agni Pariksha, and hence she lives on. That's my interpretation.
Hi Dara, I think Siri as well. I'm Yangshan Hamur, reporter from Tibet Express. So my question to you is, what are preparations that went in while making film, and also if you could tell us how long did it take for you to shoot this film? Any challenges that you faced, or not? Thank you.
I'll try to justify this from everyone's point of view, not only from my point of view as an actor. Like Sonam Token, he's been on this project for more than 5 years. And they used to meet and do a lot of script analysis and then scene breakdowns, character building. Thilinamo Pema, she's been on this project for more than 3.5 years. Min himself, the director, he took about 7 years into writing this, and he was part of Cine Foundation as a writer, and there were like 6 people selected from all over the world who were part of this Cine Foundation. Even Payal Kapadia, they were from the same batch, the director of All We Imagine as Life. So now the challenges, if you talk about the realistic challenges and not the challenges on the paper, the realistic challenge was, so you can imagine, let's say if you have to shoot a film here in Dharamshala, you would have to get the cameras probably from Chandigarh or somewhere, right? But now imagine getting the cameras from Kathmandu to the last motorable road, which is again a lot of distance, and then getting those cameras on mules and horses for 3 days, and you have to ensure that they don't break. And the lenses go from Germany, so imagine like getting the lenses from Germany to Kathmandu, then till the last motorable road, and then again on mules and horses. So those are very realistic challenges. And even if you talk about the food is very scarce, and we had the catering team that caters to the Everest base camp. And again, all the ration has to be, it has to be calculated precisely depending on the number of people, and then so it's like every crew member walked for 3 days just to reach our base, and then we start working from there. So these are the logistical challenges that I can think of at the tip of my tongue right now. So yeah.
Thank
you. Yeah, so I want to know the child, who is the child's reincarnation?
Who is the child?
Reincarnation. So is the Lama, there's some indication that that's the Lama who died?
Yes.
Or is the reincarnation that?
Yes.
So how do you explain that?
How do you explain that? As Buddhists, we all do believe in reincarnation, right?
If you understand it, that's a very, very important concept, which many people do not understand. If you get it, that is fine. I'm talking about Monday to go, that means reincarnation of our Rinpoche is born before the child, Rinpoche passed away.
No, but Rinpoche has, in the sense that Rinpoche has passed away.
He was meeting, he was first there, he was there, before the child was born, Rinpoche was alive,
When the child was born?
Yeah, when the child was conceived.
Child was conceived, yeah, Rinpoche was alive, yeah.
Okay. And then, what you call, in the end, the child is born again, child is born. Rinpoche passed away. Is time left or they are talking about something else?
I'm sorry, I'm not a Buddhist scholar, so I'm not able to answer your question.
I know that the director is spiritually inclined, so he may have some idea about that. That's something which is a very important thing to tackle now.
I mean, if you may, you can. So, no,
it's okay. So that's, I think there's an indication of that in that film. Monday to go. The Rinpoche is born before he died.
So basically what he's saying is that the Rinpoche, when he was alive, already predicted that the child that had already been conceived was going to be his reincarnation. Now traditionally the reincarnation is only found after a Lama dies. So how could that be possible, right? But in Tibetan Buddhism there is a concept of Mate Tulku, where a Tulku, while he's still alive, can select somebody or choose somebody to be his reincarnation while he's alive. So he's saying that maybe that was the director's intention. Because there is a contradiction.
Firstly, on behalf of the Tibetan community, and as somebody who's close to you, I want to say how proud I am to see your growth as an actor. And yeah, let's give him a round of applause. I have seen Dala for a long time, and I've seen him grow as an actor, and it gives me immense pleasure to see him, you know, do so many different types of roles. And a little inside story, I was filming almost around the same time as these guys were, in the same region on the opposite side of the hill, in the same height. And all these three characters were supposed to be in my film. Because of scheduling and time and whatnot, it didn't work out, but I'm so glad it didn't work out for the better. It was amazing. So we're very proud of you. So now my question is, I have a part 1 and 2 follow-up question. So how many, she asked you that question, but I think you forgot to answer. How many days, shooting days, did you guys was it, how many? So total 25 days of shoot. How many days of prep?
Approximately 3 months of pre-production.
Okay.
That means the cast, let's say the cast, the director, the cinematographer, they were there for approximately 2 months before the actual date of shooting.
Right.
So let's call that pre-production phase.
Okay. Okay. So now it is a film, right? I think it was 2.5 hours. So technically that's at least 250 odd pages. So how many pages were you guys knocking off a day? Like how many pages you were shooting? And also, like, how many, on average, how many takes were you guys doing? Thank you so much.
Okay, Joshua, thank you so much for all the pages. It means a lot to me, definitely. So before I talk about the number of pages and how many scenes we did in a day, I would like to talk about Min's process. I'm very fond of this process, and I've seen this in an Indian film also. It's called, the film is called Damaghar, and it's directed by Achal Mishra, where you keep only one axis. So as you may have seen, there are no counter axes in a scene. Yeah. And what I felt as an actor, I really wanted to, experiment is not the right word, but be a part of such a filming process. Why? Because if you're shooting this axis, and you don't have counter axis to begin with, you don't have to think about continuity. And as a performer, it liberates you to another level, because now all of this becomes your stage. So you feel alive in terms of your movement, and so that way you do not have to go and do a lot of coverage. So if you get your shot within the first take, you don't have to do a lot of coverage then. That saves you a lot of time. So, but still, you have to be courageous to be able to be confident enough to just have only one axis, because on the editing table you might realize, oh, I would need more shots, and he never took any counter axis. So in a day, I think we could easily knock off like 5 to 7 scenes in a day.
I just wanted to understand your characterization, because as much as I've seen you, I know you don't speak like Tashi, or probably you don't belong to the community. So how do you go about approaching the character?
What? Okay guys, watch Girls Will Be Girls. It's a beautiful film.
This is your moment.
Okay.
You need to.
No, I belong to this community. Like, I'm a Tibetan.
But I know, you stay in Delhi, right?
Oh, that is. But
I don't belong to I don't stay in Odisha, and I can't behave like a lot of people who stay in Odisha. So I just wanted to know, how did you approach? Do you spend more time in that place? Do you spend more time with the people there? How is it like?
There are two ways of answering your question. I'll try both. Okay. To begin with, so philosophically, like the genesis of, let's say, the people there, soul is not right, but okay, fine, the genesis of people there and the genesis of us living in the city people is like we are all practicing Buddhists. So what do I mean by we are all practicing Buddhists is we are born into a Buddhist family, and compassion is like my first lesson was not through a Buddhist text, but was through my mother, right? When she asked me not to kill an ant when I was in the process of genociding ants. And I asked her, why mustn't I kill? They're like, they fear for their life. So she says they fear for their life. I'm like, how can you say they fear for their life? She took a finger, ran a finger behind the ant, and see, they're running away. And she used the same finger to flick me, right? See, you're going away, so that means you feel pain. So that's the seed of compassion. That's my first lesson in compassion that I got from my mother. So similarly, you can transfer the same philosophy or the same thought process to those people living there. Now, if you talk about the actions of community living, this is my second approach in answering your question. Them doing agriculture, them working in the fields, them riding yachts. These are all activities that you can train yourself in. So we did have a bit of horse training there, and the differences in the horse that I found was city horses are much easier to tame, and wild horses are really hard to tame. They don't listen. You have to befriend them. So you have to feed them like things from the city that they like, that they don't get it there. So that was. Do I answer your question?
Yeah.
Sort of. Yeah.
Hello. Hi. Hi. It was a lovely film. I really enjoyed watching it. So this is my second time watching it. Actually, and the first time I watched it was in Nepal, in Kathmandu. And something that I noticed was that the viewing experience for me over here in India versus in Nepal was completely different. And now you also said it was screened at Berlin. And I mean, I'm a writer, and so I'm extremely interested by how sort of audiences react to things. And so my question is, do you notice a difference between how the audience received Shambhala in Nepal versus in India versus in, say, Berlin? Because personally I felt that maybe because it was shot in Dolpo, right, which is in Nepal, and the people had a little more cultural context and they could understand a little bit more, versus here, the moments in which people were laughing were completely different than there. You know, and so I'm wondering if you've noticed that sort of difference between the audiences. Yeah, that's the question. Thank you.
I remember Berlin. I wasn't there at the Nepal premiere or in any of the screenings in Nepal, but I remember Berlin. Berlin was pinpoint, like at the point, and I was also watching the film for the first time in Berlin, and at a point it felt like the audience were breathing with the film. And for me, that was a very surreal experience. And there were pin drop silence. Even whenever people were coughing, they were like trying to hush the cough. So it was really, like, for me, it was very overwhelming. I recently saw the film in Bombay also, and so yeah, I mean, it's a different experience I feel somewhere, but here at DIFF, I mean, there would have been no better audience for this film than the Dharamshala audience. And I hope you guys, I mean, we were able to justify the film for you, because this would be the most difficult and the most honest audience for us as well, for the film to stand its ground. And we really wanted the film to be here. And personally, I wanted to be at DIFF. I've been an audience here for the past 3 years, and I love this. Is my favorite film festival because there's this community of, I don't know, as a film lover, I don't relate to any festivals that exist except film festivals. And amongst film festivals, Dharamshala National Film Festival is my favorite film festival because the sense of community, I can feel it here. Like people are discussing films, talking films, watching films, of course. And of course, it's happening in the hills, right? So what's more beautiful than this? And I really wanted my film to play here at some point, and I cannot be happier and prouder that it's Shambhala, a Tibetan film playing here at DIFF. Yeah. Thank you for your question.
Yeah, thank you. It's a very wonderful experience watching the movie. It's really new for me to understand the culture. My concern is just about the Dawa character. So all left the Dawa. So how the people are taking care of Dawa? It was not shown in the movie. Just I'm curious to know how the child is taken care of, and every family was left the child.
Okay. So what I realized in my 50 days living there in Dolpo, the kids grow up really quickly. Like, I don't know if it's right to share Dawa's personal life here, but Dawa himself, he is an alone child. He lives with his mother and sister, and he's like the man of the house right now as we speak in real life also. So the kids there, they grow up really quick. They know how to cook, they know how to fetch water, they know how to do the agriculture. So whatever their needs are, they know their responsibilities and jobs really early on in their age. So I believe in the fictional world, I think Dawa would be able to look after his household and himself.
Yeah, I want to appreciate the film. Although it is not a political film, it doesn't talk about independent Tibet or what's happening in Tibet now. Nonetheless, it represents the Tibetan culture and as it's growing the whole narrative. So therefore, I want to appreciate this. Although it's set in Nepal, but then it is still a Tibetan film, a Tibetan story. So I want to appreciate this. So the kata that you saw in the film, so here, for Dala and the entire team, I want to give Dala a kata. There is still very little representation of Tibet in Tibetan stories internationally. There are filmmakers here. Please do make a mention in any of your Indian films. Talk about Dharamshala, talk about Dalai Lama, talk about Tibet, talk about China's invasion of Tibet. This is really important. People are just burying it out and hiding it. And our filmmaker Shimpen Kimsar is here. He has made a wonderful film that is now being selected in IFFI in Goa. So slowly there are new voices coming about. So that way this is a great celebration here at DIFF that there is a Tibetan film like this. Thank you.
To add on, it's a really proud moment for all of us. And being an audience here for 3 years, and this is the 4th year, I don't know if there has been a time when four Tibetan films, Wisdom of Happiness, 4 Tibetan films are playing, and it's a very, very proud moment for us in terms of us representing our language, our culture. And at 4:50 today, Watermill by Jairam Hindro is playing at 4:50. And tomorrow, State of Statelessness is playing in the morning, and the Wisdom of Happiness played on the first day. So this is a really proud moment for us. So please do watch State of Statelessness tomorrow and Watermill if you can today. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here.